right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back again. It's me again, and I'm here with Alex.
All right, how's everybody doing?
Alex, man, once again, it's always great to see you. It's great to talk about these movies that we don't get a chance to talk about too often, and I think they're getting forgotten as the
Yeah,
years go by. Uh,
likewise.
Recently I saw something on it was Instagram or whatever, and somebody said, "Man, it's crazy that 1993 was 30 years ago,"
Yeah,
and and I'm thinking like, wow, that's crazy because I remember movies and songs and TV shows from 1983 and
83,
prior.
right.
That was 40 years ago. That's crazy because it
Yeah,
seems like it was just kind of almost yesterday in our memory.
yeah.
And these movies and shows, man, they're going to get lost if people don't talk about them.
Yeah, that's the main reason why we banging them out, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
got
to
to,
remind people to go
got to.
check this stuff out.
Yeah.
So
And today we have something that I hadn't seen in quite a while. I do remember it from my childhood, and I remember rewatching this movie every once in a while over the years. I just hadn't seen it in a really long time, and I honestly forgot almost the whole first half of this movie
yeah,
um, up until rewatching it yesterday. And would you like to go ahead and introduce it?
yeah. We're talking about Sharky's machine.
Nobody leans on Sharky's machine.
Classic Burt Reynolds, gritty Vice, uh, homicide,
Yeah,
gumshoe
yeah,
type film. Of course, the star is Burt Reynolds. This is during the time of Burt Reynolds' prime.
yeah,
Everybody knows Burt Reynolds from Smokey and the Bandit, Hooper, Deliverance, Stick. I mean, his list, his filmography goes forever. But
yeah.
this is iconic to me and you both because again, for me, I found out that he actually directed this and just changed my whole perspective on him. So now I got to go back
Same here.
and find like the other stuff that he's done and really sit down because this film had a lot of good visuals. Had some moments that really pulled you in with the acting
Hmm.
and got you up close and almost at the edge of your seat on a few points in here. So got to go back and check Bird out. But there was a lot of
Yeah,
people also in this film that were from TV and movies too. And like I was telling you briefly a little while ago, that Burt being involved in the directing and stuff, he kind of knew who he wanted in certain roles. So he figured if he got a couple of A-list people that he knew, the rest of the people that he had on the list would come, and it worked out
right,
perfect.
right, exactly.
We got people in there like Brian Keith. Everybody remembers Brian Keith. Well, I remember Brian Keith most from Hardcastle and McCormick. Again, we
Right.
sitting in the '80s looking at these Magnum PI and
Yeah.
all these other PI
Yeah.
films and cop films and movie TV shows. So that's where I remember him from. Yeah, Charles Dunning. He was in Scarface. He was in Scarface, and he was in Dick Tracy. It's another film I think we
Hmm.
need to check out later on.
Yeah.
Um, let's see who else. The I don't want to butcher his first name, but he was the main villain. Gasman. I think it's Victonio.
Vic something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's
I'm going
Victonio.
back.
Again,
Victorio.
I won't butcher
Vittorio. Yeah.
Victorio. There you go.
Vittorio. Yeah. Vittorio.
Yeah. We had Bernie Case, of course. Bernie Case. Him from
Yeah.
uh, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. And
Yeah.
he
My
he
favorite.
actually he was in a lot of black exploitation stuff like Hitman and
Hmm.
Cleopatra Jones, and he
Yeah.
also didn't he. Now, let me ask you a question, not to get off subject, but when he played with Sean Connery in Never Say Never Again, was he the guy that turned on Sean, like he was cool in the beginning and ended up being a villain?
See, let me tell you this.
Because we
Never
gotta
say
go
never
through. We
again
gotta do
is one
that
of
one too.
those. Right. Never say never again is one of the Bond movies that I remember the least. I know I've seen it.
Ah,
You know what I'm saying? I know I've seen it because my favorite one from the 80s, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's like a special place in me is View to a Kill.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Beautiful kill.
and, they had Roger Moore in it. So the Never Say Never Again was the one where Sean Connery kind of came back and they made like two Bond movies that same year.
Right.
one with Roger Moore and one with Sean Connery. Yeah, so the Sean Connery one, I have the least amount of memory of for whatever
Yeah.
reason. So
This
I'm
was
not
gonna be
sure.
good for you to check out because he was.
Yeah,
This was again. I'm a Sean fan, man. Sean is he the most rugged Bond. You know. Now I'm not taking
yeah,
anything from the guys today. I'm talking basically strictly from our era. Roger Moore didn't even move a hair when he did stuff. You know. Sean got in there
right,
down and dirty,
right.
fisticuffs. So that's why I'm a Sean fan. It was good. You got to
Yeah,
check it out. You got to check it
yeah,
out.
yeah. I'm gonna
We're
have to.
gonna have to do that one.
Um, speaking of Bernie Casey, though, he was also in Cornbread Earl and Me.
Mm.
He was a cop. So yeah, another one, black exploitation type movie. Uh, that man, checking that out too. There's a lot of movies we got to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you got Henry Silva coming back. You know, we talked about this in the
Yeah.
last movie with Alligator. He plays
Mm-hmm.
an assassin in this film. We'll get into him later on. As far as like when we're
Yeah.
talking about the movie. But again, he perfect guy for this role, man. I'm sorry to tell you, he just, I mean, creepy ain't the word
Mm-hmm.
for this dude, man.
Yeah.
Creepy,
Yeah.
Billy Sales. Creepy is just talking lightly about this guy. This guy was weird, man.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knocked it out in the park. The other guy that played the sound guy, first name was Richard. I don't want to butcher his last name, but I remember him from Popeye, man. He played the tall guy
Was he
in
in Popeye?
Popeye, Robin Williams Popeye. He was
Yeah.
the guy that
I
did
used to love that movie.
the sound stuff for Sharky Machine when they bugged
Yeah.
the girl's apartment and stuff.
Richard Libertini.
Yeah, Lee Bertini. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only film. His whole filmography. I remember him from Popeye, like dead on. Everybody else,
Mm.
all the other stuff he did, I was just like, didn't see it. So,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it, man. As far as like
Yeah.
some of the people that were in it, that I got attached to. Great characters in this film, though, man. So,
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of great characters. Yeah. So yeah, Sharky's Machine, man, is if you were to try to explain it to someone nowadays, especially someone younger, they
mm.
might say like, "Man, that sounds stupid. That sounds boring, whatever." But this is like, you take some of the movies. Movies these days don't have these same kind of stories because an action movie in the '70s and '80s isn't the same. Well, part of the '80s. So like late '70s, early '80s, action movies weren't the way that they are now. They weren't like the John Wicks or the Avengers or anything like that.
Mm.
A lot of times they had to do with like police work or detectives or PIs and just doing like down and gritty type stuff.
Right.
And this is I know Burt Reynolds actually even said this, and critics said this about the movie that it's like Dirty Harry in Atlanta, and it's one of those things that I kind of like about a movie that takes place in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is kind of like just a gritty kind of a detective story, and they really just don't make movies like this anymore. So,
No.
yeah. So to get into the plot, if you try to explain to someone nowadays, they'll look at it like, it sounds boring, whatever. But you had to be around in the era to understand that this is different. Like you couldn't copy paste this movie and put it in 2023. It's too politically incorrect.
Yeah, it'd have to be done different. Yeah, it had to be done differently.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of the terms that are used in this movie, I'm not even going to repeat on here, but like referring to the Asian prostitute. I'm not going to say what the cop kept saying, but like you're not getting away with that these days. Side note, that Asian prostitute was Mao Ying from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, I saw it because it kept smacking me. I was like, "What do I know this girl from?"
Right.
I looked at the film.
Eyes,
oh, damn!
Yeah.
Yeah. Kurt Russell.
So, with the plot of this movie and the way it's made and the dialogue, you couldn't get away with that these days. Unless you just got your own independent studio, you can do whatever you want to do. Right. You're the man like
straight
that.
To DVD.
Right. But, right.
Yeah.
The geezer teasers, as they call them, straight to like Netflix and whatnot.
Yeah.
But this is a movie that like I think that is kind of missing these days. Like guys our age, even guys and gals our age, like it's a time where like people, the dialogue reflected the way people actually spoke. It wasn't whitewashed or anything like that. So yeah, this movie wouldn't happen these days. But just to explain the plot, Burt Reynolds' character Sharky, he was with Homicide, and wait, was he with Homicide? He was with Homicide, right?
He was
He was
I
investigating
think
the
it was with
drug guy.
narcotics. He was with narcotics
Right,
slash homicide. I think it was narcotics.
right,
I think so.
yeah. And he has a run in with Pusher beginning of the movie. And this, let's back up. This movie starts out. I play the street life because there's no place I can go. Playing over the opening credits, and Burt Reynolds walking. It's nice. It looks like it's cold out there, and just
Yep.
it's like winter time, and it's just ugly looking, and it's perfect setup for this movie, and the song "Street Life," man, just
wonderful introduction.
yeah,
Wonderful introduction to the character.
The artist was Randy Crawford.
Randy Crawford. Yeah,
yeah.
Randy.
Wonderful, perfect introduction. You know what you're getting into when this movie starts. The deal kind of goes sideways when his partner shows up early as a Smiley. His boy, suppose his boy shows up.
I got questions about that right there. I got questions.
Well, they kind of get answered later though.
Yeah. So, like, was it a mistake? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he shows up, man, and the deal goes left. And these, first of all, Burt Reynolds and the dealer, I don't even remember if he had a name, but they're both walking around with cannons. They're both walking around with cannons, man. Because when the dealer takes a shot at Smiley's car, I was like, yo, that had to be a real shot.
Yeah.
That had to be a real shot through that windshield. Otherwise, like, those special effects guys are the greatest.
Oh, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Real. They made the impact. Yeah. You heard it. Like, whoa.
Right. You felt it. Yeah. They have a chase, and the dealer ends up, well, first he does the 80s thing where he shoots a car and it blows up.
Yeah.
One shot.
Gotta have that.
Like, right. Like he was Megatron, man. He put one shot in that car, and that thing was like it was gone. I thought it was awesome though. My wife was laughing when she was watching. She's like, "Oh my god, it's some bullshit." Like, whatever.
It made me question what he was shooting. I was like, "Did he have Colt Python? What kind of gun is that? That's some rugged shit there coming out that gun."
Yeah, this dude was shooting rockets out of there, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he hijacks a bus, and the short version of the story is, man, a couple people get shot. The bus driver gets laid out, and of course the blame goes back to Burt Reynolds.
Right.
He does kill the dealer, but the blame goes back to Burt Reynolds. He gets busted down, sent downstairs to the basement, basically, with the vice cops, guys who are dealing with prostitutes and stuff like that. And that's where the story begins. And it's like, it starts out with his downfall.
Right.
And he's trying to, make his way down there in Vice, and comes across some information dealing with prostitutes.
Right.
It has to do with, a high-powered pimp who, for some reason, is untouchable.
Yeah.
And that starts the wiretaps. Right. That starts the wiretaps, and then they implicate the guy who's running for governor in this whole situation.
Got political.
And they have to do a sting, right? They have to do a sting on these prostitutes, these high-priced prostitutes. And Burt starts catching feelings for one of them, through his, while he's creeping, while he's being that's another way. That's another reason this movie wouldn't make it. It's another reason this movie wouldn't make it these days. Even though he was doing surveillance, man, he was being a whole creep.
Yeah.
Taking pictures home, and falling in love with the girl and everything. So he was being a whole creep. But that's the basic plot of this movie. And you come to find out that the big guy, the untouchable pimp guy, is also funding the guy running for governor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, running his campaign, getting him in office and everything. And just so happens that guy is in love with one of his prostitutes, and blah, blah, blah. It's a whole mess.
Yeah.
and that's like the catalyst for the story. And the assassin, um, played by Henry Silva,
Mhm.
getting involved, killing one prostitute and someone that she was sleeping with. I forgot who that guy even was. The guy he killed, the first guy he killed in like a
Um,
brothel, wherever they were.
yeah, I was thinking maybe that he probably was cleaning up because toward the end you find out that that's actually Vince's brother.
Yeah, yeah,
So he's cleaning up messes, and I think the guy that got killed with the blind Asian woman was political somewhere too. I think he might have been,
right,
like in politics as well. So that's why he
yeah,
got smoked, and I guess she got popped because she was there. You
yeah. But anyway, that's the basic part of the movie.
Yeah.
And one thing this movie does that a lot of more current movies don't do, and I actually appreciated this in John Wick 3, is
Mhm.
that they permanently injure the hero.
Yeah.
And that doesn't usually happen
Start
in a lot
off
of
with a broken
movies.
wing.
Right,
Good.
right,
It's good.
right.
Yeah.
They legit cut. Usually when the hero's about to get like a limb cut off or something, like something happens
Oh, I
and
know
they
what you're saying. Now
escape.
you're referring to the damage that was done. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if there's a that's the most one of the most memorable scenes in this movie. My memory of this movie, the first thing I think of is him getting his fingers cut off,
Right. Right.
and him still coming back to be a badass afterwards.
Yeah.
You permanently injure a hero character, and that just says you kind of got balls, you got faith in your movie, you know,
And I
and
I
your
think that
character.
wasn't the only film that he actually got messed up like that. I think he got banged up in Stick too when he did the Stick movie.
Yeah,
I think they did something to his toes or something like.
right. And
But it was something
Deliverance,
along the line
Deliverance,
of
he got his I think Deliverance, he broke his leg. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, delivered.
yeah,
So yeah, he doesn't have a problem getting banged up. But yeah, with that scene, I remember my mom having to leave the room after when the first finger went off, she had to leave the
yeah.
room, and my dad was. Of course, he teasing because you soft, you scared of squishy, with your finger, you don't want bird hurt, you know what I mean. But to me, again, it just emphasized the fact that yeah, those guys were rugged back then, and they take injuries
Right,
and keep scrapping, keep going. So that was lovely
right.
to me. So
Pick up a bottle of Jack Daniels or whatever and keep it
yep,
moving.
walk it
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Yep. They had a mole too. There was somebody
Right,
that was giving up information as well, and that
right.
that was a journey in itself too. I kind of like that part of it because you didn't really know who it was, and you trying to
Mhm.
use. I was kind of like looking at everybody, and then it turns out, who it was. It turned out to be Smiley, and I was just like this,
Yeah,
and it was right in our face the whole time, and I was like,
right,
but you didn't see much of
right.
Smiley after the beginning.
Yep. Yeah,
So it's
they
kind of like
planted
one of
that
those
seed
things
at the
where
beginning of the movie. Yep.
right. So you didn't really have him there as like to put him in a lineup with everybody. And then when it happened, I was just like, "You mother!"
Right.
you dude was grimy,
Right.
and you could
You
tell he was
raggedy
hating
son of
on
a bitch.
Burt from jump anyway. I don't think he
Yeah.
liked Burt's character much anyway. So
Right.
you waiting for him to fall, and he just helped it
Yeah.
along. So yeah.
Yeah. What's what do you what do you remember most? If somebody is to bring up this movie to you, what comes to mind?
But like you were saying, just the vulnerability. Like he starts off kind of like on a low end. He's doing what he
Yeah.
loves. He's doing his job, and he doesn't. He messes up. People end up dying from it. And to me, he went through it unflinching, man. He was really level headed and cool throughout the whole film. So
Yeah.
for me, Sharky's character kind of like if I was thinking about maybe a vice cop or a detective or homicide, the base for like what I would want to see as a fan, I definitely would gravitate toward those characteristics, man. He was smooth through the whole movie, man.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
smoothness of him,
Uh,
and he just kept that smile, man. That smirk he
right.
got, man. That was iconic, man. I think that's what got
Yeah.
him most of the films. Just really cool with it, with the way he
Yeah.
carried it, man. But definitely,
Right.
not the toughest dude on the block, not the toughest tough guy that
Mm.
I've ever seen. Because we done Truck Turner and stuff like that. Truck beat the
Yeah.
hell out that mom. But
Right.
as far as smoothness, yeah,
Yeah.
Sharky is up there for me as far as he on the
Yeah.
list. Smooth as hell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When I think about this movie, man, I it's kind of the same thing. Like he's smooth operator. Only time he kind of showed that he ain't always got it together. It's like when he invited the girl back to his place and he had the pictures up on the wall. He was like, "Damn it, I forgot to take the pictures off the wall."
yeah,
Like but it shows that vulnerability in him.
right,
And she saw like the softer side of him because he always playing hard, and she saw the softer side of him because he was carving a rose on the wall and everything.
right.
But at the same time, like he smacks this chick in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, man. That
Right.
I can't tell you. It took me out of the film, but
Right.
it was disturbing for me because I was just like,
Mhm.
what were you trying to get? What was the purpose of that?
Right.
She got a little out of line, but y'all was having a conversation, and everybody was
Mhm.
kind of like escalated because the stakes were high. You're trying to get the information because you knew that you got guys coming looking for you.
Yeah.
She might have not taken it as serious as you because again, she's on the other end. She's providing
Yeah.
services or whatever. Her head isn't catered around mortal danger.
Right.
We gonna die. Well, she wasn't thinking about that. But to
Yeah.
smack her around, it's like,
Yeah.
and you in love
He
with her
gave her a
already?
double
Like,
tap too.
yeah.
Right.
I was like, I didn't get it. All right, but anyway,
It was a
that's
front
just
and a
me.
backhand, like pop pop.
Yeah, you're
So
like, what you doing, man? What you
yeah,
doing?
yeah, and it's one of those things that like I completely forgot about that scene until I rewatched it,
Mhm.
and rewatching, I was like, man, I don't remember this, but I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that if I back in the early '80s, watching this movie, would have went right past me, wouldn't because that's Charlton Heston used to smack women in the movie. Like
yeah.
that was just a
Kind
thing,
of a thing for a tough guy, which again,
right,
that's probably why there's a
right,
short
and
circuit up here for me.
right, even
Yeah,
you take a movie like Airplane.
yeah,
In the scene where like everybody's coming down smacking the lady because he's hysterical, right? So it's like
yeah,
it was just like a thing, like all right, whatever, it's no big thing. But you look at it now, like oh shit, man, you smacked that woman, like he's supposed to go to
right,
jail and lose his badge and everything. Uh, so yeah, it's one of those things that you kind of forget about if you hadn't seen it in a while. But watching
right.
it now is definitely like it's a stark thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, just like I said, watching this movie for me, man, like what I think about is just like the characters, the way they used to be back in the day, and just kind of hard and gritty and no nonsense, no softness.
No,
Yeah, yeah, and that's this movie. That's Sharky, man. That's Sharky.
right.
Um,
And you got to
so
give hats off to some of the other. I mean, some of the other people in the film too, man. You know, I like Archie's character, which of course is
mhm.
um, Bernie Case. He again, they didn't go with the token. I'm from the hood.
Right,
I'm just trying to make it better.
right,
He went to school. He up there on the Tao type stuff. He's
yeah,
enlightenment and spiritualism. I was just like, whoa.
yeah,
Don't
right.
eat
At the
pork.
same
Don't eat
time, he went to
chicken.
the hood.
Yeah,
Right.
don't eat chicken.
And at
And
the
I was
same
just
time,
like,
he right, he got a different diet, he got a different mindset.
yeah,
But but he can still walk into a hood bar and handle his business.
take care of his business exactly. And I
Right,
love that. I
right,
love that about his character a lot, man, because it was for that time period. It was different, and I was just like, and I can see them at the table. Like, this is how we gonna run this. And dude probably
right,
was like, all right. And I mean that again, just changing things. The change
right.
was very refreshing to me. I like that,
Yeah,
and I liked his character. He
yeah,
was tall as hell, man.
yeah. He was
That dude
6'4".
was tall,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
tall as
and
hell.
back in the day, like they didn't do the same. You didn't notice the same camera tricks that they do nowadays, where like actors, like Tom Cruise is like 5'7",
Yeah,
but like he'll be standing next to somebody that's like 5'11". He's like they're like eye to eye. Like no, ain't no way.
yeah,
Um, it's all about like framing. Like he might be standing on the box, whatever. Uh, but, but back in the day, like they didn't really hide that, man. If
right.
somebody was tall, they were just tall.
Yeah,
And Bernie Casey, they don't hide that when the chief is like, or the lieutenant is yelling at him in the
yeah. He
down there, and yeah, he turns around and you don't even see the chief no more, like lieutenant.
yeah. The dwarf.
All you see is Bernie Casey's back. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this: do you have like a favorite scene from this movie, or favorite set of scenes?
Favorite scene. I think the beginning set the
Yeah.
tone for a lot for me. I like that shootout, that whole beginning, the way it unfolded with the pusher on the run and in desperation, grabs the pregnant Caucasian woman. You know,
Yeah.
like again, how did you think this was going to end, bro?
Exactly.
You know, like you took the front seat to the Hell Express right
Right.
there. So, and Burt, and, you know, when he falls off the bus, Burt says, "Why don't you shake him, see if he comes around?" Because the cop was like, "Is he
Right.
dead?" Like, come on, bro.
That the junk man?
Yeah.
Is he dead?
Why don't you shake him and see if he comes around?
Well, he got holes in him, man. Yeah, he did. You know.
Yeah.
So that scene, that the beginning was good. I think that they could have done a little bit more with Sylvia's character, man. I like Billy's score. I spoke about him last video. Very dark, twisted person. That I mean, you call him he handled the wet works. Okay, I get that, but he was different. He was different, man.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know. I always wanted to know. Like in the end, they kept referring to him as being a ghost. That's what Artie kept saying. Hey, he's a ghost, man. He's a ghost. You know, because especially after he popped Papa. You know, I was like, damn, this dude is
Yeah.
something else. And the way he was moving was different. And I was wondering, did he come? Was he in like special forces or something? And he just came to help his brother out, or was he just a twisted kid from jump? You know, that's what
Right.
got me. That's
Right.
the question I had, because he
Yeah.
definitely
What
moved
was his
different than the
past?
goons, man.
Yeah. What was his past? Why was he an addict?
Right. Because he was
Because
taking a
that's something
lot
you
of
gotta
stuff,
remember. Like he
man.
was right, like PCP and all kinds of stuff, and getting high before he did whatever.
Yeah, it was almost like it was a
And
ritual to him, man.
right,
You know?
right, and that's how he was able to walk off. Them slugs that was in him at the end of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. And I told you, I
Because
think that scene in itself there kind of like gave the idea for Scarface to, you know what I'm saying, and at the end of Scarface, when he took all that cocaine, he was up there
yeah,
shooting all the guys that was
right,
raiding the mansion and stuff, man. That
yeah,
definitely gave, if it didn't give the idea, damn sure it was a reference.
right,
You know,
right,
because you figure Billy took like 7 to 8 shots before he fell out the window,
yeah,
man. And he had already
yeah,
took shots from Artie, you know. So
right.
yeah,
He was going hard. I kind of, I thinking about it, the beginning and the ending. They book in the movie, obviously, but
right,
the beginning sets the tone, and the ending is just kind of hard.
yeah,
Uh, but I think I might actually enjoy that opening scene a little bit more. Yeah, just because some of the dialogue with the pusher when we first meets Burt and they're talking shit to each other, and
Burt
those
was
two
cool.
cannons they were using. Yeah, Burt was cool, and with the street life and all that. The end, I think if you take out some of the comedy with Bernie Casey saying, "Hey Sharky."
Yeah. Plant his ass in the ground, you hear me? Yeah. Sharky.
Hey
Yeah,
Sharky. He keeps calling him back like every time he's like, yeah, like that scene is funny. I
that's
just think
that
it's
blood loss
misplaced.
kick in there.
Right. Right. He had shock,
Yeah,
complete
yeah,
shock. Um, but and then you also add in so that whole scene. I think to me, like I said, it's funny, but for where it's at in the movie, it may be a little out of place because when he walks up on Bernie Casey, he says, "Hey, partner, you all right?" He's like, "Hell no, I'm shot."
yeah,
Like he's on his last leg. Like he looks like from behind he would have looked dead. Like
yeah,
that's how bad he looked.
yeah.
He said, "Hell no, I ain't all right, man. I'm shot." And then they go into the whole like, "Hey Sharky, hey Sharky." Yeah, it's a funny scene. It's a funny scene. I don't know if it's in the right place.
But yeah, and I
Um,
agree with you. It kind of took away from the tension a little bit. Maybe
yeah,
maybe they felt that maybe Burt felt that the audience was like gonna have a stroke, so we gotta lighten it up a little bit. Because it was a tense
Yeah,
scene, man. Because
it was.
it's like we got to get this guy. He done popped 2 dudes already, like
Yeah,
So it was definitely the desperation was there, man. But I'm gonna ask you this
yeah,
too. Again, going back to Billy's character, man. I don't understand why he killed Victor, man. For the life of me, I don't understand that. Okay, it almost made me. It was almost reminiscent of Jason's lyric. Okay, when
yeah,
his brother, what I'm saying, well, if I can't have you, then what I'm saying, I'm taking away everything, and
yeah,
I didn't understand, like, why would you shoot your brother? He's telling you
yeah,
it's time to bug out. He's giving you money. He's giving you direction like he always has. And just because he wasn't taking you with him, because he knew you were
yeah.
going to be a sore thumb sticking out, your addiction was out of control. So you gonna kill him?
Hmm.
Uh, if he had
Yeah.
just went on about his business, everybody would have split up. They would still be looking for Victor right now. I'm telling you, that old boy would
Yeah.
have been overseas somewhere. You know that. But to kill him was almost like, I'm gonna burn the house down. I'm just hell with it. I'm gonna burn everything
Yeah.
down and I'm gonna kill myself. Like,
Yeah.
it just struck me. It really went left, and I think that it was a surprise for me that it went that way. I didn't. Again, we haven't
Yeah.
seen this in a long time, but it was a surprise for me that it went that way. I didn't expect
I
him to
think
do that.
from a like a narrative point of view, and I could be completely wrong, but maybe Burt Reynolds had to figure out a way, or the writers had to figure out a way to get rid of Victor
Mm.
and keep to basically get rid of him without having to do a whole lot of extra writing to get Sharky and that guy in the same situation to kill him. Blah blah blah. Have have the hitman do it
Yeah,
and make him the last bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets rid of, use one character to get rid of another.
and I mean the
And
reaction
I think
that he gave was cool because again, Sharky was pissed. He beating on the
yeah,
dead body.
right.
Get up, like nah, man.
Yeah.
He
I was
already
joking with
gone.
my wife. I was like, I was joking with my wife at that part. I was like, you just giving him CPR. He's okay. Yeah.
But I
People getting
understand it
hammered.
because
Them
we all
hammers.
felt that it was robbed. They robbed that luxury from us of seeing him go
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I went with it, but I was just like, Billy, what the fuck is you doing, man? Messing up everything,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But yeah. I guess I'm gonna go with the beginning too, the opening scene. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie. But there's a lot of memorable moments in this movie. But yeah, the whole scene, yeah,
tons.
the first one.
What did you think about the background music and the ambiance, man? I thought that it was just perfect. It was almost like, again, like films back then with Chuck Turner or something like that. I think that the soundtrack is just as much as important as the film, and they just nailed it with the jazz and just the really gumshoe feel of that film, man. They nailed it on all
Yeah, I mean,
four.
you
Man,
said it.
to me.
You said it. You said it. It starts out with the Street Life, which is more of like a disco-ish type of song. But the movie itself is just mostly just like you said, like a jazzy type of vibe and background, and it fits perfectly with this movie. It doesn't need anything else.
No.
It didn't need anything else, especially being in Atlanta. Like, you don't, it was like a perfect fit.
Right.
So yeah, the sound of it is it fits this movie perfectly.
Yeah, and they actually have a soundtrack. I got to go back and look for it. I don't own it. I saw the vinyl online when I was looking around a little while ago, and I want to try to pick it up because they definitely got some decent tracks on there, man.
So what was your favorite kill of the movie?
It had to be Kitten, man. Which again, I don't understand why he. I don't think that Artie was putting enough pressure on him for him to do that. But I guess when he saw old boy, he got spooked. When he saw Billy's character, he got spooked and said, "I gotta get up out of here. This man on me. I gotta ditch him and run." And of course, you had the Chin brothers.
Right.
Chin brothers worked old boy over, man. I mean,
Finish him.
epitome of getting beat to death. That was right at
Right.
the top of the list.
He
And
said,
by the
man, they
time they
kung fu him to death.
yeah, he got worked over bad, and I just was like,
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
damn, man, I hope it was worth it. You
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he
I'd have
did
to
get
say
his
that
ass whooped.
as far as kills, that one, and of course, when Smiley was talking shit and he caught two in the stomach. That was lovely for me because
Yeah.
that lets you know
Yeah.
Burt meant to do that. He meant to shoot him in the stomach, man. I'm sorry to tell you, he wanted
Yeah.
old boy to suffer, and he needed to because he's a piece of shit,
Yeah.
So when he caught
Yep.
the two slugs in the
Yep.
stomach, I was like, perfect,
Perfect.
perfect. And then of course he killed the Chin brothers. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
How about
think
you?
mine was probably just because of like how brutal it was the prostitute that they thought was Domino.
Ooh,
I don't remember her name.
Tiffany.
Um,
Tiffany.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So let me tell you like this. I thought I was paying attention to the movie when I was watching it.
I thought so too.
So I'm like, did I miss something? Because the girl came back. So let me back up. Burt Reynolds in the apartment after the girl gets killed, thinking that it was Domino.
Yeah.
He was spying on from across the way. Henry Silva, what's his name? Billy, right?
Mm-hmm. Billy Score.
Billy Score? Yeah. He goes up to kill her, knocks on the door, sees a shadow under the door, has a sawed-off shotgun, one blast through the door, blows her face off. So you don't know who died.
Right.
Like, well, you assume that it's Domino because every clue in the movie is saying that it was Domino, unless I missed something.
And that was slick, that the way that they did it too, real slick.
Right. Because I completely forgot about that little twist, until I rewatched it. So Burt Reynolds is in the apartment later, and he's basically heartbroken because he don't fell in love with a girl from across the street, and I'm thinking watching it, I'm like, is he daydreaming?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, like it's like a dream type sequence where the girl walks in like, hey, what are you doing here? Because the way it's cut, like I'm thinking like, no, like this, he must be imagining her walking in and blah blah blah, and he was like, because I'm like, okay, when she walked in the apartment, she didn't see like the hole in the door and the blood on the wall.
She had the bag.
So I'm thinking, right. So I'm thinking like, this had to be a dream sequence because there's no way this. And I'm like, how can it be her? She's dead anyway.
Right.
And then the epiphany. Oh, all right. She isn't dead, and it was another girl, and she just disappeared because back in the 80s and 70s, you could go away for a few days and no one knew you were around.
Yeah.
There was no one. There was no way to track you down. If you don't talk to anyone, they didn't know you were alive or dead.
Yep. No social media.
So she had disappeared. Right. Yep. She had disappeared for 24 hours, and Burt thought she was gone because there wasn't no way to identify who it was. The face was blown off.
And so I think the reason why that scene right there kept a lot of weight with me is the fact that the way that they did it was crazy because you knew Tiffany kind of was there with her because they went to dance class together. Okay. Yeah. But Victor was just there, so of course Victor ran her through the mill with everything that he could possibly do because he knew that she was trying to leave and he needed to get rid of her. So behind that traumatic, because you saw her taking the Quaaludes and stuff.
Yeah.
So behind that traumaticness of whatever took place with him, I figured maybe she would have kept the blinds closed because she just didn't feel like she felt violated. She didn't feel like the sunlight and everything. So you got all these different thoughts, like, but you're knowing that she's in the apartment. I didn't think of Tiffany at all. So that's why I got caught off guard. Like, oh shit, that was smooth, man. That was really smooth the way they did
it. Yeah. So that ended up
I was
being
like you when she walked in. I was like, what the fuck? A ghost?
Yeah, right. This dude, he was really in love. He was daydreaming about it.
Yeah. Like, and that was a raw scene too, man. Because like if you look at it, that was straight skull inside that face meat, bro. Like she had that. All this was a skeleton, man.
Yeah.
So that to me, that was a very raw scene for that time period. That was a very raw scene, man. Yeah. That wasn't done very often.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
So yeah,
so let me ask you this: closing thoughts about Sharky's Machine.
my honest opinion, man, I want to see Sharky done again, man. I don't care how they do it.
Yeah.
I don't care who they get in there, as long as they just keep keep to what Burt and his camp was they accomplished in the first film. They can do whatever they want to. If they want to reinvent the characters altogether and have like a
Yeah.
yeah, I don't care if they put a female as the lead. I could care less, but I want to see that again. I want to feel that gritty '80s detective vice type film again, man. And I'm
Hmm.
really hoping that they try to recreate it and try to do it again because it's I don't know, man. To let this just fade away, man, is really it's taken away from like that tough guy template, man. Like that's the problem with
Yeah.
these films nowadays. We spoke about this before we even got on off camera. Like these guys nowadays. I mean, some of the stuff is carried over pretty decent with the writing and the
Hmm.
choreographing, but they have actually lost a lot of the essence of what a tough guy. What made this guy so cool? What made
Yeah.
these guys like Shaft and Chuck Turner and the rest of these guys that we saw on screen? What made these situations so cool? What made these guys so cool and memorable? The
Yeah.
formula is lost, man. They got to get it back. They got
Yeah.
to get it back.
And it's almost that over the top caricature of a tough guy,
Yeah,
but that was like the norm. That was like the norm in the movies back in the day. Can you
right.
take Marion Cobretti from
Mm,
Cobra? Uh,
yeah,
you know, this dude walk around with shades on. He taking pizza out the refrigerator, cutting it with some scissors to eat it. Like,
Stallone.
bro, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous as hell.
Yeah,
But cool, tough guy, macho guy from the movies. Like it's escapism, man. You just want to go see something ridiculous,
right.
and that's what you got back then. Like you get a little bit of that now, maybe with like John Wick, but at the same time, John Wick ain't smacking Halle Berry.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
So tough guys they're a little different these days, and
Right.
I'm not to say that's all bad. It's definitely like I love the John Wick movies. It ain't all bad,
Yeah.
but no, you don't get the same. You don't get some of that same grit that you used to back in the day.
Right.
Not at all. My opinion of this movie is pretty much the same. That it is kind of a lost template where for these days, this exact movie, if you were to transplant it, it'll be too boring for like modern audiences.
Yeah.
There's not enough going on in the middle half and the middle section of the movie.
Right.
So yeah, you'd have to speed up a little bit, add a little, add some action scenes and stuff. Um, but the template of like like you said, the gritty private detective or cop or whatever, going in a small. It seems like small stakes, but it's big stakes in the movie. But it seems like small stakes in comparison to somebody's trying to take over an entire city or take over the
Right.
world or bomb whatever. It's small stakes. It's a corrupt guy, corrupt politician and a pimp and a few other characters, and just seeing that down, dirty, gritty uh, situation, kind of a little more realistic. And yeah, that's kind of missing
Yeah.
these days.
It's missing a lot, and I mean, it's not like they don't have references. I think again, it's just they're trying to go with, I guess, what they think is popular, and you know, my thing is if if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. So you've got plenty of reference. If you want to water it down, change it up, gender or whatever the case may be, because nowadays everything has to be so super sensitive, which is fine.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
still use, what works and make great film.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and this is
My
the
my
type of
issue on
stuff
that.
that bothers me. The fact that again, like when we were growing up, these are the
Yeah,
guys that we were watching on screen, man. You know,
yeah,
this is the guys that made you want to put on a badge and be a cop or go to the military.
right,
And
yeah,
try to walk
yeah,
the line. Hey, man, I want to be just like him.
right.
We don't have that anymore, and that's scary to me
No,
because then these kids are, you see it. We talk all the time about comic books and stuff like that. These kids
yeah,
don't have anything to aspire to, like, you know.
yeah.
inspired to
Yeah,
Mr.
even if
Soft,
it's
Mr. Softy over here.
right, even if those images were like exaggerated, right?
Yeah.
We had enough sense to know back then that like, okay, yeah, it is a little exaggerated, but it still gave you that excitement, like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do
Right.
something like that.
Inspiring, especially as a man.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of been taken away recently. I think the issue I have with like newer movies and some shows is it isn't so much the inclusiveness. I don't care about that. Like you can make any character do whatever you want as long as the story's good. I watch it. I don't care.
Yeah.
What I have a problem with is when you take legacy characters and then try to flip everything about them. Like if you're gonna have a gritty private detective movie like Sharky's Machine, but you know what, you want to star like a woman or whatever, then fine, make that. But don't, in my opinion, don't make her, Sharky. Like,
right.
Don't make it like she's the new Sharky, blah blah blah. Like, no, just give her her own story. Don't take something that's already been established and that we like, and then try to change it to make it more suitable for modern audiences. No. Leave that stuff alone. Just make something new.
Right.
Make something new. I don't care how you make it. Just make something new. Make it good. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
But if you take, if you were to remake, we talked about Commando before. If you were to remake Commando and, put like, I don't know, name any random actress or whatever, and flip the roles, but it's the same story, same character. I'm like, no. I don't. This isn't what no. If you're gonna remake Commando, remake Commando.
Remake it from the ground up. Yeah.
Right.
I agree with you.
Keep it basically the same. If you want a story about like ex-military, female, whatever that does all this other stuff, okay, make a separate story, make a different movie.
Right.
It can be similar, whatever, but don't call it Commando. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's what I don't like.
Yeah. I'm right with you.
So anyway, got on my little soapbox there.
I got it. I understand completely.
Yeah. But hey, man, once again, we talked about another classic. We got plenty more to come.
Yeah.
And man, I always appreciate you doing this because when you talk to somebody who has at least as much or more knowledge of the subject, it just makes it more fun.
Yeah. And I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate doing this with you, man. Because again, it's to me, it's almost becoming a crusade because we got to do this, man. Because if we're not doing it, then people are not going to remember. At least we're helping. We're helping.
Right.
And again, if this inspires others to want to do the same, please, please by all means do it. If you're trying to link up, leave some comments.
Yeah.
Hit us in the DM.
Hit us up.
We start a community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, man. Until next time, Alex, man, I really appreciate you. Man, thanks for joining. Thanks for talking about this movie. Any parting words?
Just if you haven't seen this film or anything that Burt has put out, please do yourself a favor and check the man out. This time period, the 80, 81 is really during the time when he was really hot, man. And reference Smokey and the Bandit. You got Hooper.
Yeah. Cannonball Run 1 and 2 and
yeah. So please check these films out and leave some comments. Let us know if you check out Sharky's Machine, and if you liked it, let us know why you liked it. Let us know your favorite character, who you got attached to.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, look, appreciate it. I'm gonna go watch some football.
All right.
Everyone, anyone who sees this video, I want to thank you for watching, and just like, share, subscribe, come back for more, and we'll be back.
Play the street life, because there's no place I can go. Street life.